Hey, yo, welcome to the Uncle Show. We're looking at Gundam again. Kinda. Well, less of the usual robots, and this time a lady, which I suppose I've looked at before as well. So, look, this is the figurized Lunamaria Hawke by Bandai. Well, if you've been watching my show, I previously looked at the high-grade Rinko Iori model kit, and, it wasn't very good. Horrible construction, redesigns that made it not evoke the character, and stickers for eyes. So yeah, a bit of a disaster. But doing my research, I found out that these weird high-grade Gundam girl kits were not the only model kits Bandai made of the women of Gundam. Bandai have released a bunch of others under their Figurized line of model kits. Figurized is Bandai's model kit range for everything but Gundam robots, it seems. Kamen Rider, Digimon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, there's a lot. And there have been a number of figures for some of the female Gundam characters, except Rinko Iori, tragically. So I opted for the kit of Lunamaria Hawke from Gundam Seed Destiny. Why her? Because I played as her all the time when I played Gundam Dynasty Warriors. I can't help it, she's a cutie. And as for Lunamaria herself and Gundam Seed Destiny is the sequel series to Gundam Seed, part of the cosmic era of Gundam. And I haven't watched any of it. From what I've heard, Gundam Seed is very divisive, though no one's really dived too much into why for me. Mostly something about angst, which it's the late 90s, early 2000s. There's a lot of angsty characters. My guess is the main character gets to have sex. Hashtag unrelatable. And as for Seed Destiny, it's even more controversial. And then there's a movie that apparently makes it all worth it. Plus, there have been worse Gundam shows. Watching clips of Lunamaria, I can see why she's popular enough to want to make a figure of her. She's cute, a lot of fun, and brings some energy to a cast full of very depressed characters. And she remains pretty popular despite apparently having stormtrooper levels of accuracy. But we aren't here to talk about the show, we're here to talk about the figure, which I mostly got because, well, I wanted to see if Bandai learned their mistakes after what happened with Rinko. Tell you what else I want to see, your subscription. If you get subscribed and get notified, you'll not only see new reviews, but you can also tune into live streams where I film footage for future videos. Any super chats will also be featured in the video as well. Also, if you like the video, please give a like and comment. Your engagement helps support this channel. Now, back to the video. Ladies and gentlemen, we have an ass. The build for this lovely lady was, well, just as lovely. Unlike Rinko, where it got worse and worse as it went on, Lunamaria actually got better and better as it went on. I was a bit surprised at how complex the build was. I guess when I went into a human model kit, I figured I was in for something a little more simplified, or maybe that's just blokies. Come on, man, at that point, just make an action figure. Sticker painting levels, I'd say, is at a very firm 1. Most of the stickers were fine and covered stuff where a plastic piece wouldn't make sense. Though these strips in the legs, get your Gundam marker out. And Bandai learned their lesson because rather than stickers for eyes like Rinko Iori, she has a tampograph printed face. Thank you, God! Gundam. It's not the highest quality printing, but it gets the job done. Sometimes pre-painted pieces just gotta be done. But what about alternate faces? We'll get to that later. For now, let's take the chance to admire the fact she actually looks spot on to how she actually appeared in the show. I'm really impressed with how close this is to her animation model. Everything from her physique, hair, and the design of her face look remarkably accurate. Nothing was tampered with to make it look cuter or sexier. Well, I guess there is this. Now that's an ass. Sculpted with love. But to be fair, I know this is show accurate. I've seen that remaster screenshot. I guess if you really want me to nitpick, the colors seem a bit brighter for the grays on her suit, but I think I actually prefer this. It balances the color better and looks pleasing to my eyes. The only other complaint I have are the sleeves. I wish these cuffs went up a bit more to better cover up the balls for her wrists, but again, very minor complaint. Which again, you compare to the piles upon piles of complaint I had with Rinko, it's a massive upgrade. Now before we go over articulation, let's go over the accessories because she comes with some rather interesting ones. First up is this helmet, her very cute, kinda cat-like helmet. She can hold it separately or put it on her head, but it requires a bit of assembly. Next, she comes with an alternate torso with a rubber shirt underneath. You know, I try to not make as many horny jokes just because I don't want to come off as obnoxious, but when you were presented with something like this... Actually, I will give credit to the alternate torso. It's still well articulated, but I do think that the division with the rubber bits looks awkward, so we're going to stick with the regular outfit. Sometimes less is more. So you get a number of different hands, and I'm just going to quickly show them off. So you get these open hands, pair of pointing fingers like so. You get a pair of fists that I think are on the wrong peg.
You get one extra hand for the other hand, which is like this, what I can only describe as like a slapping hand, but you could attach it to there, but that'd be wrong. But probably the coolest is this hand, because this hand, if you look, is a hand for holding guns and accessories. So yes, if you have any kind of accessories like that can hold these weapons, then that's pretty cool.
Whenever I remember that Rinko came with only 2 sets of hands and a bunch of sci-fi noise they called a backpack, the fact Lunamaria comes with so many different expressive hands as well as something she actually wears in the show is a miracle. But we're not done. We also have some alternate faces. Actually, let's get the sticker sheet back out, because you see these alternate faces? These aren't stickers. These are water slide decals. The way these work is by cutting them out and dipping them in some water for a few seconds. Be sure to remove excess moisture and applying them where you want very carefully with a cotton swab off the paper. And boom, new faces. A very smart way of applying new faces without needing horrible stickers. Only problem is you only get 2 alternate faces that are the right color. You also get some extra white faces for some reason. I guess you could paint them yourself, like I did. I really need an airbrush. So the accessories are great, and she's really representative of the character, but how is she to actually pose about? After all, Rinko fell apart if I so much as breathed near her. Well, I'm happy to say this is immensely solid. Probably one of the most solid feeling model kits of this size I've messed with. You gotta be exceptionally violent with her to get pieces to fall off, and that's no way to treat a lady.
Okay, time for a quick little articulation test. Head is on a ball joint and can tilt. Let's try that again. Head is on a ball joint and can tilt remarkably pretty far, or before it pops up. She can look down, okay, and look up really far actually. The torso is on a ball joint, so it can move around, rotate ever so slightly, and you get a lot of side to side actually, so quite nice. Really good crunch forward, really good arcing back. Arms are kind of on a ball joint, so you still kind of get that shrugging action. Oop. I gotta be more careful with these. And of course, they can rotate all the way, and I gotta be more careful. They can, flex a little bit for a, kind of a butterfly. She can T-pose her arms about that far. There is rotation at the upper arm. As for the bicep, almost perfect elbows. Really nice, really nice. There is rotation at the cuff, which is a little interesting. Don't really see that too often. And there is what I like to call this like a sword wielding wrist, meaning you can kind of tilt it forward a little bit. And of course, it can rotate on its own too. Spreading, not ideal, but you can, in theory, rotate it to get a much better spread. And she can kick up, okay, but not ideal. And unfortunately, she cannot go back that far. There is rotation at the thigh, however. And then the legs go back that far, pretty good. And then the feet can go forward, go back really far, and while there is no like butterfly joint to speak, there is rotation at the foot. So you can kind of get like something resembling an ankle. God, I did not do a good job of getting this off the sprue, didn't I? This is before I got my god hands. Almost forgot. There is also a ball joint at her little hair bit here. Almost forgot about that. Swapping the faces is kind of a pain.
For a model kit, this is a very fun to pose figure. I've had plenty of model kits or even figures that felt like they didn't want to be played with Lunamaria. No, she demands that you come play with her. In fact, maybe it's a bit too good. Let me explain. Bandai also have their SH Figuarts range of high-end figures that go into the hundreds of dollars range. And meanwhile, this thing, which is almost half the price, comes with just as many accessories. Kind of makes me wonder what's even the point of SH Figuarts. Genuinely, what's the advantage of SH Figuarts? Maybe better feeling plastic, but honestly, even that's a stretch for SH Figuarts sometimes.
Just gonna do a quick little size comparison between this and some other figures I feel are fitting for a comparison. Here she is next to the Figurize Magnamon. Here she is next to the entry grade Gundam RX-78-2. Just because I borrowed the weapons for the video, and she's actually a little bit taller. And just because I compared it to this throughout the entire video, the high grade Build Fighters Rinko Iori.
Getting this figure right next to the high-grade Rinko is hilarious, because sure, she's half the size of Rinko, but even just looking at them, you can tell Lunamaria is 10 times the quality. Overall, this was such a great time and a wonderful introduction to the Figurize line, and I'm thinking maybe I should get some of the other figures in this range. Even as someone who doesn't know a thing about Gundam Seed, I'm still so glad I got this figure. Now that it is a bit on the pricier side for a model this size at $40, some of you are probably going to balk at that price, but let me put it in a way that'll maybe change your mind. You got to build it yourself and it's more than half the price of a Figma. And I think building it actually in some ways makes it more of an experience than just pulling it out of the box in this regard. Sure, there's no paint on it, but it still looks fantastic and does everything I could want it to. So whip out your nips and do some snips. Just be sure not to use some cheap nippers like I did. Sorry, Luna. But what about you? What did you think of this kit? And if you have any of the other Figurize kits, which do you recommend for me? Let me know in the comments and please subscribe.